Just 1 mile of water separates the two San Diego neighborhoods of Coronado and Barrio Logan, but the two neighborhoods seem to be worlds apart. In Barrio Logan, industries emit 3 million pounds of toxic chemicals every year. Like many other low-income communities of color, polluting industries poison the land, water, and air. Most of all, people are affected by this overwhelming pollution. Coronado has among the lowest rates of emergency room visits caused by asthma in San Diego County, while Barrio Logan has one of the highest. The cards are stacked against Barrio Logan residents. This is environmental injustice. Environmental justice is about human rights and a healthy environment. For the past 30 years, Environmental Health Coalition has built grassroots campaigns to confront the consequences of toxic pollution, discriminatory land use, and unsustainable energy policies. EHC has shined the light on injustices in impacted communities and fought for change.
People impacted by toxic pollution often lack the information needed to confront and change these conditions. They're aware of the problem, they see it, they live with it every day. We empower leaders to become advocates for their neighborhoods, their families, for a just and healthy community.
One cause of this environmental injustice is the City of San Diego's official land use policy in Barrio Logan, which allows mixed residential and industrial uses, so that homes and families can be right next to polluters like metal fabricators or auto body shops. Coronado is zoned for the separation between residential and industrial uses. Such separation is the norm in planning. Without this separation, residents' health and safety are compromised. This is why EHC has utilized land use policy as a critical tool in the struggle for environmental justice.
To change discriminatory land use policies, Environmental Health Coalition uses our social change for justice model. Environmental Health Coalition work with community residents and allies to empower, advocate, and organize to achieve environmental and social justice. Based on our experience, we have developed the Environmental Health Coalition community planning process, which has 7 steps.
Mi hijo mayor le dijeron que tenía problemas en la escuela para respirar cuando hacía ejercicio, cuando era su hora de PE. Entonces lo llevé al doctor y me dijo que mi hijo tenía principios de asma. Frente a donde yo vivo, pues había una bodega donde había todo el día camiones de carga con sus motores encendidos. Entonces, pues dije, pues es por eso que mi hijo y muchos niños más tienen el problema de asma.
No es una comunidad muy segura porque tenemos muchos talleres de carrocería y pintura. Y cuando nuestros hijos caminan por las mañanas hacia la escuela, los talleres de carrocería y pintura parquean sus automóviles en las aceras. Entonces ellos tienen que bajarse a la calzada donde ellos corren peligro porque pasan los carros. Y pues no es una comunidad segura para nuestros hijos.
To identify the problem, the voice of the community is as important as the information gleaned from scientific research. Community voice is the most important element in identifying problems in the neighborhood. Residents live and breathe, literally, the problem, so no one is better qualified to recognize the key issues. It's important to identify the leaders in the community. For the most part, they are identified by residents as knowledgeable and committed to community protection. We build relationships with leaders and residents and encourage them to get involved by speaking out about the key problems. Existing organizations like churches, unions, cultural associations, and others are great places to meet people who are already involved and concerned. EHC community organizers connect with the community and understand the community's own perception of its problems.
We study and utilize the environmental and health data available for the community. For example, residents of Old Town National City complain of respiratory diseases among their children. Environmental Health Coalition research showed us that this neighborhood suffered from 23,000 pounds of toxic emissions per year. 70% of which are released by auto body shops and paint shops situated right next to residences and schools. This led us to focus on moving auto body shops away from residences and schools. Identifying problems in these areas through community input and voice is the foundation for all the work and change that we have accomplished.